The night felt unusually heavy for Sarah Mitchell. The tiny apartment was quiet except for the soft whimpers of her 6-month-old son, Noah. A single yellow lamp flickered in the corner, casting long shadows across the worn furniture. Sarah sat on the edge of the couch, gently rocking Noah in her arms while staring at her nearly empty wallet on the table. Inside were 2 crumpled dollar bills and an old grocery receipt. That was all she had left until next week. Noah's baby formula container sat on the kitchen counter, its lid open and its bottom clearly visible. One more bottle, that was all that remained. After that, she didn't know what she would do. Being a single mom had never been part of Sarah's plan. A year ago she had a steady job at a small bookstore and dreams of finishing college. But life had changed quickly after Noah's father left when he learned about the pregnancy. Since then, every day had been a quiet battle to survive. Sarah took a deep breath and opened her phone. Her fingers trembled slightly as she scrolled through her contacts until she found the number she thought belonged to her old coworker Amanda. Amanda had once told her, "If you ever need help, just text me." Swallowing her pride, Sarah typed slowly, "Hey Amanda. I'm really sorry to ask, but could you lend me $40 for baby formula? Noah hasn't eaten much today and I get paid next week. I promise I'll pay you back." She stared at the message for a moment, feeling embarrassed and desperate at the same time. Then she pressed send. A few seconds passed. Then minutes. Noah slowly fell asleep in her arms, his tiny fingers wrapped around her shirt. Sarah placed him gently in his crib and returned to the couch. Suddenly her phone buzzed. She grabbed it quickly. But the reply made her blink in confusion. "I think you may have the wrong number. But, tell me more about your situation." Sarah froze. Wrong number. Her cheeks burned with embarrassment. She almost didn't reply. But something about the message felt kind, not annoyed. Hesitantly she typed back, explaining that she must have mistyped Amanda's number and apologizing for bothering him. She added a short explanation about Noah and the formula. After she sent the message, she expected the conversation to end. Instead, the stranger replied almost immediately. "You didn't bother me. I'm glad you reached out. No baby should go hungry." Sarah frowned slightly, curious. The typing bubble appeared again. "Where do you live?" he asked. She hesitated. The internet had taught her to be careful. But the tone of the conversation felt sincere. She mentioned only her city. A minute later another message appeared. "I'm sending you $200 for formula and groceries. Please use it for Noah." Sarah's heart jumped. $200. That was more than she expected anyone to give. She stared at the message thinking it must be a joke or scam. Then another notification appeared. A payment confirmation. The money was real. Tears filled her eyes as relief washed over her like a wave. She quickly typed a thank you message, her fingers shaking with emotion. "I don't even know how to thank you. You just saved us tonight." The stranger replied with something simple but unexpected. "Take care of your baby." That's thanks enough. The conversation could have ended there. But something about Sarah's honesty had caught his attention. Over the next few days they exchanged a few more messages. He asked about Noah, about Sarah's dreams, about what she used to do before life became so difficult. Sarah answered honestly, never asking for more money. She simply shared pieces of her story. What she didn't know was that the man on the other side of the phone wasn't just a random stranger. His name was Daniel Carter, a billionaire tech entrepreneur known for building one of the fastest-growing companies in the country. Daniel had spent most of his life surrounded by wealth, boardrooms, and investment deals. But reading Sarah's messages reminded him of something he hadn't felt in years, real human connection. Her strength, her honesty, and her determination to care for her child despite everything deeply moved him. One evening Daniel asked a simple question that would change everything. "Sarah, what would you do if money wasn't a problem?" Sarah stared at the message for a long time before replying. "Honestly, I'd go back to school. I always wanted to become a teacher." Daniel looked at his phone and smiled slightly. The next day Sarah received another message asking for her email. A few minutes later an official letter arrived. At first she thought it was a mistake. But after reading it 3 times, her hands began to shake. It was a scholarship offer, full tuition, childcare support, and living assistance for the next 4 years. Attached was a short note from Daniel: "Everyone deserves a chance. I think you and Noah deserve yours." Sarah cried harder than she had in years. A single message sent by mistake had completely changed her future. But what Daniel didn't tell her yet was that this was only the beginning of something even bigger, something that would not only change Sarah's life, but inspire millions of people who would later hear this story. And if this story touched your heart even a little, make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay with us, because the next story might remind you that sometimes the smallest moments, like a simple text message, can change a life forever.